didn't think it was going to work then. So this is probably going to be a short live, just to say I'm not sure whether I will be able to do Meditation Monday today. But I thought actually I'd speak to this and I would go live and I would show up and say what's going on. My daughter wasn't feeling herself on Friday. We were away this weekend. Got to be at the beach by the coast. You can check out some of my Instagram reels. And I've been detoxing, as you know. Oh, here we go. I've been purifying. I could feel it all coming out. And it really feels as though like we've leveled up over the last few days. As again, that is there to tap into, but that we have a responsibility, and this is what I want to speak to about, a responsibility to create the conditions in our body, in the physical, to allow that to come through. And so that means surrendering sometimes to like the shift, the purging, the colds. And it seems to be happening more and more. And one angle you could look at it and one perspective and go, well, it means you're more run down, your immune system, maybe that's like a sense of needing to pause, to stop, to be in the 0 point a lot more. It is definitely easier this month to do so. But from highest perspective, what I'm feeling into is the fact that my body is shifting. I need to allow it to have those shifts, not fight it. Now, not lots of people be like, oh yeah, just dose yourself up, kind of, get out there, get on with it. And in our society, I guess that's what lots of people do. So I'm lucky in the fact that I haven't got that pressure. But what I feel a responsibility, a deep responsibility to, and to demonstrate is to be in a state of allowing when your body's going through these purgings. And also to keep, I've started on a path that means that I've got to create certain conditions in an alchemical way within my body to allow for the receptors in my body to open up to certain things. Now, when I resist that, when I do stuff that I would have, or eat stuff that from before, hello, he's sitting above my head, I'll go against that, then I feel as though my body now is in it's like a state of flux. That doesn't mean that we're all going to be this way, and it doesn't mean that you have to go through this. But for me, that's part of my personal journey, that I wanted to allow that vessel, allow that myself to create the alchemical presence, to allow that light shift within my body and the density of my body, which means that the density of my body feels like it's shifting. And I'm getting the impression that it's almost like now, yeah, I was saying that I wanted to do that, and I'm like last July when it was 7/7, they were saying like your diet needs to change, you need to kind of create a more alkaline presence so that light can be more present within the density. So that means getting rid of my sugar habits, and that for me was addictions to sweet stuff and processed foods, even processed vegan foods, for convenience and quickness. And I'm not saying that this is a journey for everyone, but I'm saying this was a choice that I was being told from my own inner guidance. And so that inner guidance was like leading me to eat more fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and grown. I mean, even now, I don't think I put the post up that I did. I'll do another one on Instagram. I was looking at the electro chemical way of growing stuff as well, and whether I was going to do some little tests to see whether I can do that with my plant pots. So I've bought some copper wire and some sticks to do that in the plant pots to see if I can grow some herbs and things. And I've got my little herb garden. So drawn to be eating a certain thing. And I'm not saying that you have to eat that way in order to be a channel, because other people it's different, their journey is different, we're all different. But I was told from my guidance at 7/7, so last July, and it kind of feels as though as the year has progressed, it's got harder and harder to ignore and just go with the flow of what everybody else is doing. And maybe so, like, we'll be out, we'll eat, oh, I just eat what's on the menu kind of thing. That has become difficult, or not so much difficult, has become, there's an awareness that if I'm eating that and I've got that, what's the word, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is processed, then I'm kind of aligning up to the energy that that's going to affect me, because that's the path that I've chosen to walk, to eat, to create these conditions in the body and the density of the body to allow the light come in. So when I'm moving, like yesterday morning, I woke up pretty much the same as today, but I didn't have the kids feeling the same as well to look after, but all evening felt achy. Now, most people say, well, you've got a cold. Maybe you've got a touch of the flu and you're feeling under the weather. Yeah, I get that the 3D world sees it that way. But there's another layer to this. I feel as though the body is alchemizing and processing and shifting. It almost feels like on the cellular level, the receptors in the body, and this, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a science, but that's what it feels like's happening within all of us. And whether we call it a cold, whether we call it whatever we call it, this is happening and will continue to happen, and will kind of, it's almost like we can't go back now, that this high, beautiful high energy has shifted and we have to catch up with it. We've got to, or I've got to, I want to say, because I'm speaking from my perspective, allow that shift, allow, and I keep saying allow, just surrender to what the body is doing, what it's wanting to do, how it's shifting, so that that light can be held in that container. The body feels like it keeps leveling up, it keeps going through these processes of releasing the resistance, detoxing, purging. Now, as I say, from a very 3D way of thinking, I know how that's perceived, but I'm going to say and want to share my perspective in how about if you're going through this thing for you, you kind of see it from a different perspective. You see it as it's the next purge, it's the next clearing. But then it's like when you're letting go of those emotions, and I did a lot of physical emotional work over the last few years. I feel as though the emotional body field for me personally, although others I know that that's where they're working and shifting, or mentally the mental field. For me, it's definitely the physical field. So allowing myself to move in a certain way when I'm doing the Qigong, it really helps to ground in these high energies, and I can feel the process, and I'm feel as though I'm having to go through that in order to demonstrate that, in order to show that you can get to the other side. So it's because I debated, I thought, should I'm going to ramble because I know I'm not in the same alignment as I would be when I would normally go live, but actually this is about me being authentic and not always being on the high, what you've got, a high vibe kind of thing. But it doesn't feel as though I'm not high vibe. It feels that the point has moved, that that keeps shifting and leveling up, leveling up, leveling up, and then the body needs to catch up within that density. And this is what happens when I start to do that, and I purge the next layer and then go deeper on the next layer. Now, for some of us, I'm fully aware that that's an emotional layer, that's working through our own conscious minds, patterns and belief systems. But for me, it feels like it's a physical thing because I've set my intention on for the physical to be at that level. It means that I have to adhere to what I've need to catch up with the greater part of myself, if you like, said another way, which is already there. It's already energetically there. It's already mentally there. But the physical has to purge, to clear. So when I woke up, it felt horrendous this morning, and that used to be putting it politely. Last night, it was as though every part of my body was shifting. Um, and I felt I don't want any more processed stuff. It's like I can't tolerate the energy or the frequency within my body, which is quite a hard thing to do to live. Because the closer you look at it, the more you look at it, even on a practical term, things like, I mean, it's to complain, but to say like eating out, if the frequency of the food, generally, if my frequency was at a high res, it felt like it didn't matter then when I ate before. But this is what feels like has changed. It feels like the frequency the body needs to shift because, and the food and everything, because there's been a shift in where the set point is for what is the, I don't know, the words are escaping me, but there's a definite feeling right now that as these waves that we get, the solar, as it's hitting the body, that we feel it on a very physical level. And at first I was thinking, I was in a bit of a two minds about this, because I was thinking, well, if you feel that you're going to be affected, then you're going to manifest that you're going to be affected. But I think that there's two parts to this. There's that side of things, but there's also a very, very physical alchemical thing that's happening in all of us. And depending on what part of your field needs shifting, and for me, that's definitely the physical, to release any acidity. And that definitely has a bearing. Since I've started eating and going on these sort of protocols, I could feel the difference. But it's almost like you purge and purge and purge, that then you can't tolerate those lower density within, because you kind of leveled up again. And that's what it's like. It waves, to clear, to purge. And I feel as though this month will be easier for lots of us on in some levels, because there's this sense of loving the self and knowing just got to take those times, do those things that you need to do. And for me, obviously, that's to rest, to eat what the healthy green leaves, vegetables, obviously what I'm drawn to. For different people, that's different things. And for some, it might just be taking time to mentally clear the thoughts, or emotionally have a good cry, to release, to clear the field. So whichever body in the euphoric fields that we're being affected with, me, it's feeling very physical. I feel this is a micro, macro kind of feeling of what's happening externally in the collective, that lots of light workers I know right now have been sick. Like one has had a pneumonia, super, super fit. Another, it's like we're showing up on a really kind of microscopic level, that we've kind of raised the bar for our body and its density of what is the set point of our high vibe now. And the body itself is shifted to catch up with the earth, which is already there. And the frequency and the energy is already, and when you're tapped into it, it feels amazing. Don't get me wrong, even laying here and aching and stuff and feeling, I'm not laying here going, oh God, I feel horrendous. I'm laying here thinking, okay, body, that's fine. I'm listening. I'm hearing you. Thank you for whatever it is you need to do. Just, I'm totally open to the guidance that you're telling me, and really kind of allowing the light to flow in. And at the same time, feeling very wrapped up in love and protection and healing. And I feel as though I've signed up for this. This was a choice, a conscious choice to help clear and purify. And when I talk about in our meditations about the filter, that we like letting that stuff in, you only let in, it feels as though there's that filter, but there's the collective filter. And the light workers are all part of that filter, that we all collectively work coherently together as a network to help in the same way like we do in our own body, our own toric fields, clearing with energy, do the same. And that's why I think that we're all, and I say all because I literally, everyone I know that's super healthy, that's healers, that's Reiki healers, seem to be going through the same thing, so that we can purge it through the density, through the physical. We're leveling up in our own way, so that then we're alchemizing in a different way. So I thought I would share this, and maybe it's rambling to some, but I'm hoping I'm getting the point across, because it really feels like this is a very physical feeling, that the receptors in the brain are shifting, like literally you could feel it happening, that the bone density feels like it's shifting and becoming more crystalline. And I know that sounds, I do know that how that sounds nuts, but I just thought I would share. So yeah, anyway, love and blessings in your now moment, wherever you are, whatever you are doing. Just be kind to yourself, as I'm doing. Kids and I are going to have a duvet day, as they say, and nice celery juice, lemon water, green smoothies will be what is on the menu for us, to really feel the alchemical frequency of those things that are really good for us to soak into the cells for what it needs. But listening to that and what the body's calling for, and I'm looking at the cat cuddles, and for some of you it might be the physical, others it may well be that you need some time to have time with friends, time with family, laughter, really important. We'll be watching this comedy show and really allowing yourself, even when you're feeling this way, to go, right, okay, how can I still have joy? How can I still have fun? How can it still not be about the, oh, I'm dying kind of feeling? What can you do to feel that love, to feel that loving, compassionate feeling towards the self? So, as I would normally ask my members at Monday today, beginning of the week, what is your focus? Mine is obviously to make sure I'm eating and giving my body the right fuel for whatever shifts it's going through on the density in the 3D, and to allow, to surrender to that process, to let it purge, to go through, and not see it as a negative thing that people do. Oh, it means you run down, or it's a bad thing. It's the body's process. It's if you think of, like, I saw a post at the weekend and it was saying about the wetlands being like the kidneys for clearing things. And we often think of like the lungs, the Amazon are the lungs of the planet for purging. And I feel as though there's like a micro macro thing happening to a lot of us as the earth is shifting and doing its thing. We are mirroring that within our own bodies. And the same as this stuff is happening, all of this mental duality and stuff that's actually quite hard to watch, it then purges through those fields in different ways and filters down. As I was saying, I very much feel that light workers at the moment, the reason this is happening, one, we're leveling up and we're having to clear all those things. So for me, that's the physical. For some, it's the mental. For others, it's the emotional. So that we can be part of that filter to help with that collective. Because it's the energy's beautifully. It's already done. What we're doing is just kind of, if you think about